Alright guys, so I'm just going to go through quick here a little video on making a histogram like we did in class today, just for you to have to look back at in case you need to. So making a histogram, the first thing you have to do is enter your data into your list. So I'm going to click the Stat button here and Edit. Okay, so if you have something in your list already that you want to clear out, you want to go up to Highlight that list you want to clear, hit the Clear button, and then arrow down. So I'm just going to do the same thing with this list over here. Okay, so I have nice clear lists to work with. From there, you would want to go ahead and enter in your data into a list. So I'm just going to pick list 1, and I'm just going to put in some random numbers here. Alright, so once your list is in, you can go ahead and quit back to your main screen with second mode. And now I can go and make the graph. So I'm going to go to second y equals. Okay, so I have 3 plots right now. All of mine are off. And I'm going to go into my first one. And I want to turn my plot on so it'll actually graph it. And then I want to select this third type here. So that's my histogram. Okay, this X list should match wherever I put my data. So I did put mine in L1, so I can leave that. If I would have done L2 or L3, I would have to change that. Frequency for us, we will always leave at 1. Alright, so the next thing here, I'm going to go to the zoom button in the top middle of the calculator. And I'm going to go down to number 9 where it says zoom stat. Okay, and zoom stat gives us a nice picture. So your calculator looks at the lowest value and the highest value and kind of makes a histogram from there. So it decides how to divide up your observations. Okay, so something else, if you hit the trace button, we can kind of see what's going on with each bar. So I have 3 observations between 1 and 3.8. I have 5 observations between 3.8 and 6.6. and so on. So remember, this gap is here because I have no observations in that next class. One other thing we talked about in class then was setting my window. So sometimes your calculator sets those class widths to something that we might not necessarily do. So we tend to do whole numbers. And that's the X scale you want to look at. So our calculator scaled by 2.8, which seems kind of silly, although it doesn't really matter what you set your scale as. But let's say I want to set my scale as 3. Okay, so X scale is equivalent to class width. Then I can hit graph. And you'll see I have pretty much the same shape, but a few bars are different heights. My gap doesn't maybe look quite as big, but I am counting by 3s now.